Admiral Zix Vortal stared at the command deck's main display, where the planet Earth spun serenely in its orbital cradle, utterly unbothered by the galactic storm about to be unleashed upon it. "You're telling me an entire battle fleet, the most advanced armada the Draco hegemony has ever assembled, just disappeared on a backwater mud bowl?" he demanded, his scales shifting from emerald to a dark forest green as stress overtook his finely tuned physiology. Lieutenant Clake, antennae flicking with nervous energy, nodded. "Yes, sir. The Seventh Armada, 12 dreadnoughts, 38 cruisers, 76 destroyers, and approximately 120,000 crew members. Gone. No distress signals? None. No debris field? Nothing. Just gone." Zix Vortal's tail lashed against the metallic floor of the command deck. "That's impossible. The humans are centuries behind us technologically. They barely have lunar colonies for stars' sake." "Nevertheless, sir," Cleek said softly, his exoskeletal plates clicking as he shifted his weight, "the facts remain. The fleet entered the Sol system at 0600 Galactic Standard Time, broadcast the standard pre-conquest declaration, and then ceased all communication by 0723. For a long moment, the bridge was silent, save for the hum of active systems and the faint whir of environmental control. Then Zix Vortal whispered the unthinkable, "Get me Captain Drake Holloway." Quake flinched. "The human, sir, with all due respect. Yes, the human," Zix growled. "If any of them understands how this could have happened, it's him." Captain Drake Holloway was in the middle of one of the worst hangovers of his life when his comm device shrieked to life on his nightstand. "For the love of," he groaned, blindly fumbling for the device, knocking over a bottle of something that had tasted like fuel and was marketed as authentic Centauran whiskey. It shattered. So did his skull. At least that's how it felt. "Whoever this is," he muttered, "I will personally ensure your next reincarnation is as a public toilet on Ganymede." The voice that came through was crisp and unmistakably alien. "Captain Holloway." Drake blinked, now very awake and painfully aware he was only wearing underwear with cartoon rocket ships. "Admiral Zix Vortal," he said, voice raspy. "To what do I owe the dubious pleasure of your call at?" He glanced at the clock. 6 in the damn morning. "You species has destroyed an entire Draco Armada," the Admiral said bluntly. "Explain how." Drake blinked again, then laughed, and immediately regretted it as pain exploded behind his eyes. "I'm sorry, I thought you just said we destroyed an entire Draco Armada, as in one of those fleets you lizard bastards are always bragging about." "This is not a joke, Holloway." "Clearly not," Drake muttered. "Which one?" "The 7th, Zix Vortal answered. Drake sobered instantly. "Fleet Lord Saska's command?" "Yes, you know of him?" "Yeah," Drake said, standing up and rubbing his temples. "Everyone who's fought the hegemony knows of him. The Butcher of Barnard Star, the Scourge of Sirius, not exactly known for diplomacy." "There were mistakes," Zix Vortal replied stiffly. "You mean you invaded Earth, and now your fleet is gone, and you're calling me because I'm the token human in your command files. You are the only human who served with distinction in the Galactic Alliance forces. Your insight is valuable." Drake grunted. "Let me guess. Full reinstatement, clearance of charges, and a formal apology for the Proxima incident?" Silence. "Wow, you're desperate." 20 minutes, Zix Vortal said. "Be at the Portland teleport station." "Make it 30. I need coffee and pants. Also, next time you want to invade my home planet, buy me dinner first." He cut the call. 6 hours later, Drake stood on the command deck of the Inevitable Dominance, a Draco carrier hanging at a safe distance from Earth orbit. The irony of the ship's name wasn't lost on him. They played him the last known moments of the Seventh Armada. On the hollow projection, ships in pristine formation reached Earth orbit. Then, the impossible. One by one, energy signatures winked out like dying stars. No explosions, no signals, just silence. "Play the calm chatter," Drake said. The playback slowed. Voices from the fleet filled the room. "Perimeter breached, maintain formation, broadcast conquest declaration. Lead elements entering orbit in 3, 2. What is that? Command, are you seeing this? Energy spike. Shields not responding. They're in the ship. Lost contact with merciless victory and subjugator. Fall back. They're not what we thought." And then nothing. Drake stared, heart pounding. "That doesn't sound like anything we did." "Explain," Zixfortel demanded. "Earth's got defenses, sure, but nothing like this." He pointed to the projection. "They're in the ship, that's boarding. We can't do that." "Then what do you suggest happened?" the Admiral hissed. Drake's face was grim. "I need to talk to Earth." "You may attempt contact," Zix said after a long pause, "but I want to know everything they tell you." "Of course," Drake said, already dialing. General Natalie Winter's holographic image appeared in front of him. "You've got nerve, Holloway," she said coldly. "Disappearing for 3 years, then popping up on a Draco ship. Good to see you too, Nat. Still saving Earth? Now I'm the acting Secretary of Defense. Then you know what I'm calling about." Natalie's face was unreadable. "I don't know what you're talking about." Drake rubbed his temples. "Come on, Nat. 12 dreadnoughts vanished. Poof. We didn't do that when I left. So unless we found a wormhole weapon and forgot to put it in the press release, we didn't do it," she said finally. "But we saw what did." Drake froze. "Go on." They broadcast the usual Draco nonsense, and then clouds, silver gray, metallic, moving with purpose. They enveloped each ship, and when they moved on, the ships were gone. "Nanites?" "No, something else. We've got footage. You need to see it." When the video played, Drake's stomach dropped. Ships vanishing inside a swirling cloud that moved like a predator. Not human, not Draco. And according to Natalie, it's still up there. Unseen, watching, waiting. Whatever it was, it had chosen Earth's skies as its hunting ground. And now everyone was trying to understand why. The cold metal walls of the Inevitable Dominance's strategy room closed in like a tomb around the 4 beings seated inside. Admiral Zixfortel, Drake Holloway, Lieutenant Cleek, and the feline science officer Merurl. The atmosphere was tense not from the threat of imminent destruction, but from the abyss of the unknown yawning before them. "You're saying this cloud is still in orbit?" Admiral Zix asked, voice low and dangerous. "According to Earth sensors, yes." Drake replied, "It's undetectable through normal means, but there are irregularities. Gravitational shifts, radiation anomalies, spikes in neutrino emissions. Something is up there. Watching. Learning." "A cloud that eats warships," Zix scoffed. "Your human authorities are clearly hiding the truth." "With all due respect," Drake shot back, "if Earth had a weapon that could take out your entire armada without firing a shot, we wouldn't be hiding it. We'd be marketing it." Merle's feline features remained unreadable, her tail swaying in thought. "The footage doesn't match any known weapons signature in the Galactic Alliance database. I believe we may be witnessing an entirely new life form." "You mean silicon-based?" Cleek asked. "No," she said quietly. "More exotic than that." She pulled up the footage from Natalie's transmission and enhanced the data overlays. "My theory is this: it's a collective intelligence. a metalloid swarm. Think of it like a jellyfish, but made of metallic microscopic units, functioning as one. Drake leaned forward. Like a cloud of nanobots? Not bots. Life, Murrell corrected. A conscious entity, self-aware, with an interest in studying, not destroying. The Admiral hissed. Then where are my ships and crew? Murrell didn't flinch. Preserved, that's my guess. The cloud didn't destroy them, it collected them. Silence. Zix's tail whipped the air. And why only our ships? Why leave Earth's untouched? Drake finally voiced the question he'd been chewing on for hours. Because your fleet came in hot. Full battle formation. Weapons active. That thing saw you as a threat. Maybe it acted defensively. Or, out of curiosity, Murrell added, to study you. New arrivals in its territory. The Admiral's mouth tightened. We need to know more, Drake said. I propose a reconnaissance mission. One ship, small crew, no weapons. We approach as observers, see if the entity reacts. You want to go to it? The Admiral asked, incredulous. Do you have a better plan? Drake asked. Sit here and wait for it to eat another fleet? Zix Vordal turned to Cleek and Murrell. Do it. Outfit a scout ship, minimum systems, no weapons. And who will pilot this suicide run? Zix asked coldly. Drake gave a lopsided grin. Come on, Admiral. You already knew the answer. 12 hours later, Drake stood aboard the Whisper, a Draco scout vessel stripped down to bare essentials. No weapons, no defenses, just sensors and curiosity. Along with him were Murrell, Communications Officer Ziz, and to Drake's surprise, Admiral Zix Vordal himself. I didn't take you for the field trip type, Drake said as they buckled in. The Admiral's scales were an icy blue. My clutch sister was aboard the cruiser Unyielding Blade. I need to see this for myself. Drake studied him. Fair enough. The Whisper detached from the inevitable dominance and slipped silently toward Earth orbit. Approaching Earth orbital space, Drake said, voice low. This is the approximate position where the Seventh Armada vanished, Murrell confirmed. Her console lit up with swirling ghost signatures, faint traces of silvery energy like cosmic fog. On screen, the Admiral commanded. The blackness of space filled the main view. But with Murrell's sensor overlays, they saw more. Tiny filaments of silver energy drifting like smoke, each with a strange pulse. Not random, rhythmic. There's a higher density about 3,000 kilometers ahead, Murrell noted. It could be the core. Drake adjusted course. Sneaking up on a sentient cloud. This is definitely in the top 5 weirdest missions of my life. As they crept closer, the patterns grew more coherent, more organized. The silver fog started moving, slowly but unmistakably, toward them. It's noticed us, Ziz whispered. Hold position, the Admiral ordered. No aggression. Drake obeyed, despite every nerve screaming to run. The cloud gathered itself, its wispy edges forming tendrils that reached for the ship like curious fingers. The interior of the Whisper flickered. Systems dimmed, then stabilized. Energy readings surged but remained within safety limits. We're being scanned, Murrell murmured, eyes wide. At a cellular level, it's reading us. The view screen suddenly shifted. The silver cloud shimmered and displayed symbols, alien abstract, flowing like molten metal. A language, complex, geometric, alive. It's trying to communicate, Ziz breathed, through our systems. Can you respond? The Admiral asked. I'll start with basic math. Prime numbers, Fibonacci sequence, constants, Ziz said. She transmitted. The screen pulsed. The cloud responded with more complex patterns. Then, suddenly, words. Identify purpose. Everyone stared. Tell it the truth, Drake said. We're here to investigate what happened to the other ships. The message was sent. The response came instantly. Other vessels? Classified hostile. Query, is your vessel hostile? Definitely not a friendly first impression, Drake muttered. Tell it we are not hostile, the Admiral said stiffly. Z's transmitted the message. Another reply, verification required. Submit to analysis. Before they could react, the cloud surrounded the ship fully. A strange tingling washed through them. Drake's mind buzzed. Murrell's fur stood on end. Even the Admiral froze. The scan ended. Silence. Then, carbon-based life forms. One specimen matches indigenous species of third planet. Explain. It knows I'm human, Drake said. It wants to know why I'm here. The Admiral hesitated, then nodded. Tell it the truth again, that you served with us. Ziz sent the message. The reply was longer this time. Drake Holloway. Human, former captain, Galactic Alliance Exploratory Division, current status reinstated. Drake sat back, stunned. It knows who I am? It accessed Earth's defense network, Murrell said slowly, and our ship's systems, Ziz added. This thing, the Admiral growled, knows everything. Ask it what happened to the Armada, Drake said. They sent the question. The pause this time was longer. The silver cloud pulsed, spiraled, danced. Then the response. Draco hegemony vessels, imminent threat to indigenous species, intervention protocol activated, vessels and occupants preserved for study. Preserved, the Admiral whispered. They're alive. In stasis, Murrell confirmed, scanning again. Just like cryopreservation, the entity put them on pause. Ask where they are, Zix demanded. Secure location, access restricted. Drake rubbed his forehead. Can we ask for their release? Query complex. Requires analysis of intentions. Probability of renewed hostility, high. It thinks if it releases them, you'll just attack again, Drake translated. And it's probably not wrong. Another message arrived. Drake Holloway. You serve with non-indigenous species despite threat to your world. Explain. Drake blinked, surprised at the direct address. It wants to know why I work with aliens, he said, then added, even the ones who nearly conquered Earth. He thought carefully, then spoke slowly. Because not all species are enemies. I believe in cooperation, peace. The Draco don't speak for everyone. Perspective noted. Differs from historical human response to perceived threats. It studied us, our history, Murrell noted. Then another message flashed. Proposal. Ambassador required. Drake Holloway suitable candidate. Accept role as intermediary between collective and biological civilizations. Drake stared. It wants me to be its ambassador. Admiral Zix exploded. Absolutely not. This entity has committed an act of war. It prevented a war, Drake argued. Before they could continue, the view screen changed again. Alternative proposal, demonstration of capabilities and intentions, follow. The whisper began to move, not by Drake's command but pulled gently by the entity. Where is it taking us? The Admiral asked. Murrell checked the nav system, the far side of Earth's moon. What they found there made even Zix Vortal gasp. Suspended in the shadow of the moon, encased in a massive silver lattice, was the entire Seventh Armada. Dreadnoughts, cruisers, destroyers, intact, frozen in light. By the clutch, Mother, the Admiral whispered. The entity's message followed. Demonstration complete. Query, what solution prevents further conflict? And with that, the future of three civilizations, Draco, Earth, and the mysterious collective, hung in the balance. Suspended in the shadow of Earth's moon, the Draco Seventh Armada floated in eerie stillness. Encased in a silver lattice of energy, its massive dreadnoughts and cruisers seemed frozen in time, silent monuments to a failed invasion and a force beyond understanding. Inside the scout vessel Whisper, the crew stood stunned. Life signs? Drake asked quietly. Muril's console pulsed with readouts. Present. Stable. Suspended. The entity kept them in stasis, like biological specimens in cold storage. Drake looked at the shimmering lattice surrounding the fleet. This wasn't retaliation. It was containment. The view screen flared again. Demonstration complete. Query, what solution prevents further conflict? Everyone turned to Drake. He inhaled slowly, stepped forward. Entity, he said aloud, return the Draco fleet and crew unharmed. In exchange, the hegemony will recognize Earth and the Sol system as a protected neutral zone. No military actions. I will serve as intermediary to uphold this peace. Zix Vortal's tail lashed. You have no authority to. With respect, Drake interrupted. You sent a war fleet to my planet without warning. This entity showed more restraint than the hegemony ever did. Before Zix could reply, the screen changed. Proposal accepted, with condition. Drake Holloway remains as permanent liaison. Draco hegemony must withdraw all military vessels beyond 5 light-year radius. Zix erupted. Unacceptable. That's a strategic surrender. Drake countered. It's not surrender, it's a ceasefire zone. Trade, diplomacy, science, yes. Weapons, no. You either accept or your people remain frozen in orbit. The Admiral stared at him, scales slowly dimming from crimson to contemplative blue. Finally, he gave a stiff nod. Very well, we accept. Zuz transmitted the message. A moment later, the screen flared. Agreement confirmed. Release will follow verified withdrawal. Preparations commencing. Drake exhaled. In the days that followed, history unfolded at breakneck speed. The Galactic Alliance convened emergency sessions. Earth ratified the agreement. The entity, now self-identified as the collective consciousness Argent, or simply Argent, became an officially recognized sovereign intelligence. Drake remained aboard a new habitat module beside the Argent's orbiting presence. A diplomat, a symbol, a bridge. On the day the Draco fleet was released, Earth's new Secretary of Defense, Natalie Winters, joined him in the observation deck. I thought you were done with politics, Drake said. Turns out diplomacy is harder to ignore when a metal god asks for you by name, she replied. They watched in silence as the silver lattice unraveled. The Draco warships, untouched and fully powered, slowly drifted free, lights flickering to life, positioning thrusters firing in slow, cautious movements. Drake Holloway came Argent's voice, flowing through the chamber walls like thought wrapped in sound. Proposal executed, agreement honored, observation continues. Natalie raised a brow. It's still watching us? Always, Drake said. But now, maybe as a friend. She looked at him. You really staying here? With it? Drake smiled faintly. I've spent years trying to figure out my place. Turns out it was between the stars, between species, between everything. Natalie gave him a look, half admiration, half regret. Well, Ambassador Holloway, don't screw it up. The last of the Draco ships vanished into deep space, and the galaxy unknowingly entered a new era. 1 year later, the station orbiting Earth was no longer a patchwork module bolted together in haste. Now called Embassy Argent, it had grown into a gleaming diplomatic hub, a symbol of a new galactic balance. Around it, human and alien ships mingled under the watchful shimmer of Argent, the sentient metallic cloud that had once dismantled a fleet and reshaped history. Drake Holloway stood at the observation deck, watching an Earth shuttle glide into dock. He felt Argent's presence before it spoke, a gentle nudge in the back of his thoughts. New arrivals, human designation, ambassadorial team. Got it, Drake said aloud. Promotion day. Promotion, increased value assigned to individual function, affirmed. Drake chuckled. Always so literal. The airlock hissed open. To his surprise, the first to step through was Natalie Winters. Nat, he blinked. You're the new Earth ambassador? Turns out I prefer first contact over committee meetings, she said. Plus, you've got better coffee up here. They walked side by side through the central hub, an open space filled with a dozen species. Felissoids, Arcturans, humans, even Draco scientists now cautiously curious about the entity that had once frozen their fleet mid-warpath. You've done well here, Drake, Natalie said quietly. People respect you, trust you. Honestly, I'm still winging it, he replied. Argent does most of the heavy lifting. I just translate the weird. Argent shimmered around them. Drake Holloway, interface successful. Human contradictions remain entertaining. Natalie smirked. It has a sense of humor now? Yeah, Drake said. Unfortunately, it also has opinions on Earth reality TV. We'll never hear the end of it. Suddenly, a chime rang through the station. A young officer hurried over. Ambassador Winters, Special Envoy Holloway, you need to see this. Perimeter sensors just picked up a vessel. Unknown design, unknown drive signature. Not Draco. Not Alliance. Nothing we recognize. Natalie's eyes met Drake's. Argent's presence intensified. New arrival, confirmed. Sequence continues. What do you mean, sequence? Drake asked. Galactic awareness unfolds in stages. One revelation leads to others. The galaxy awakens. A chill ran down Drake's spine, but so did excitement. Looks like your first day on the job's going to be as wild as mine, he told Natalie. She squared her shoulders, fire in her eyes. Then let's go meet the neighbors. Argent shimmered in approval. Curiosity over fear, adaptability over aggression. This is why you were chosen. As Drake and Natalie walked toward the command center, ready to greet whatever came next, the stars beyond Earth shimmered just a little brighter. A year ago, a fleet vanished. Today, Earth stood at the center of galactic diplomacy. Tomorrow, the galaxy would never be the same.